Prescott.
Yes.
Motion carried. There is no correspondence that requires any action. Any that requires action is right here.
Approval of the bills list. Monthly bill list is being submitted for approval. Motion to approve bills and sign checks.
So moved.
Second.
How you vote?
Really?
Yes.
Vote yes. Mr. Prescott.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Remarks from the supervisor, any?
Have none?
Dave, you guys skip the correspondence?
No.
No. Doug went
There
through.
was
Nothing that requires any action. Anything that requires action is right here.
Okay, well, every other meeting you go through all the
We haven't
correspondence.
done that for about 3 months.
Public comment on non-agenda items. Good, Mike.
Well, I missed the last meeting, and there was a comment from you, Mr. Illy, that you had a problem with a certain resident text messaging your road supervisor. And obviously, my wife stood up and spoke that that was her. Your first thing shouldn't have been to address her. You should have addressed the road supervisor on how she got his phone number. He gave her the phone number and said, call if there's a problem or anything, you can just call directly, or text, or whatever. So I think my wife deserves an apology, because that was directed towards her, and should have been directed towards the road supervisor and how he got the number. If he didn't want the number used for that purpose, he should have never gave it to her and I. And second of all, if that was his issue, all he had to do was text her and say, please refer to the township building. He did not need to bring it to your attention and brought out in public meeting. I think that's a little overboard over a text message.
Well, I asked him how he or she ended up with his number, and he said, I don't know, I never gave it to
He
her.
stood on my porch and gave it to me.
Mike, I'm
I'm
just
just-
telling you what he said.
Okay, that's
Okay?
fine, that's fine, Dave. I'm just telling you how he got it.
Well, I'm just telling you what he told me.
All right, fair enough. My second question is for Mr. Sweat. If a township hires a shredding company to destroy paperwork from the township, I mean, we do motions and notices for every other thing in the world. Shouldn't that be put out there legally?
Yeah, in the perfect world, it should.
I mean, it should be advertised what they're destroying, and that way if there's somebody that wants to look at that before it's destroyed.
But I don't think you have to advertise it, Mike. I think that it should be covered in the minutes that a motion's being made to destroy records from 2005 to 2009 that involve zoning applications or something to that effect. Because obviously there's an expense,
Right.
and so you have to approve that bill. So it should be in the minutes.
Just asking. Thank you.
Good, JD.
Couple things. I guess the first question would be why we don't read all the correspondence now. I don't remember ever hearing that change or any motion on it or any discussion on it. I've always read and gone through the correspondence folder and then said it will be together as a whole in this folder until such and such a time, at which point it'll be put in its proper individual files. When did that change? And
About 3 months ago.
I don't think so.
Yes.
Was there a discussion or motion or anything?
There was a suggestion made to me to not do that anymore.
By whom?
That's solicitor.
Any particular reason?
Sure.
I mean, it's not an item on the agenda, and correspondence is available for review by the public. I just think it's unnecessary to go through and read each item of correspondence if it doesn't support an agenda item. Townships I'm involved in don't read it. Now, occasionally they'll report from correspondence an item that needs to find its way to the agenda or requires some action or an explanation. But I just thought Doug was taking too much time going through the correspondence when it wasn't necessary.
Well, we
But then he had to make it available to the public to review.
But, okay, so if you have 30 people in a room, and he reads, and he doesn't read what the correspondence is, he doesn't read it verbatim, he reads like who it's from, what it concerns. He doesn't read extra correspondence. He lets everybody in the room know what's there, So if it's something they are interested in or want to see, then they can come to it at the time of the meeting or at the township office at a later date. If it is not read what it is, and any regular meeting I've been to, they read correspondence, again, not in detail, but in substance. That way, you know if it's something that interests you or concerns you. So, I think that's a good procedure to continue that, I don't ever remember that being changed, so.
Well, I think the more efficient thing to do maybe would be to have a list of the correspondence that came in and make that part of the minutes. Rather than reading through each letter, just have the list. I don't have a problem with
Leave it
that.
out before or after the meeting, maybe?
What, make it part of the minutes. Have the list of correspondence for this meeting, there it is. And in that way, you have an opportunity to ask a question.
That would be good. I just think to not address a law, or, I agree, you
We
want
do
to read
address it.
word for word.
That's what this is right here, J.D. Those are
Okay.
items of correspondence.
My point is, Doug, though, you got a folder, say you have 30 items in there, and there's
I
30
understand your
people.
point, J.D. You
So,
don't have to.
well, apparently you don't,
You don't have to
because-
beat it to death.
No, apparently you don't, because if everybody tries to come up after the meeting, read that, they don't know what's in it, so you're gonna have 30 people, you're not gonna stay
You can-
and let people go through it.
We can print that out anytime you want to see it. Anytime you come out during regular office hours, evening hours, let me know if you want to see it, we'll make an appointment for you to see it.
You said in the past, it stays in the correspondence folder till the following day, which is
And
filed in its
and
individual
it's still
folder.
it's still in that folder in there, so that's.
If you don't know what's in there, then why would you?
Any other public comment?
I wasn't done.
Go ahead.
To address the comment, and this is a public comment, so I guess it doesn't require an answer to the question. Zach, thank you for trying to do what's right and follow proper procedure and to cover you guys' butt about the issue that I brought up. Wasn't an issue. I was not talking to hear myself talk. I never do. I was trying to merely point out that you were making a mistake by approving minutes with an untrue, incorrect statement. Simply merely pointing it out. I would think that you guys would appreciate, most importantly, that the solicitor would appreciate things being done right. I was merely pointing out that there was an untrue statement, and to prove that, knowing that, would be incorrect. And your hostile response, an unnecessary and untrue response, is uncalled for. Zach then made a proper motion to correct it. I think if that probably came out from a different member of the audience, you would have welcomed it, corrected it, instead of attacking me on it. So, again, uncalled for and juvenile.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else?
I got a question. Kathy? Did you ever serve as an income tax collector?
Yes,
Who had access to your files?
nobody.
Supervisor?
Nope,
Um,
nobody,
road crew?
nobody,
Police department?
nobody.
Why?
Private information.
Tammy, you want to tell them about information you destroyed?
Years and years of earned income with people's social security.
She's
And
the
it is
last
not- It
person.
is not public information.
She's the last person in this township that had access to that information, the only person that had access to that. And she emptied the file cabinet of the earned income tax files, which none of us are permitted to see. There's nothing wrong with that. That is in order.
Except that Tammy wasn't here the day it was emptied.
Tammy,
No, I wasn't. I was home taking care of my sick mother-in-law, who has since passed. But the boxes were stacked up in the back, and I asked Sharon if she would oversee the shredder company. Then the man came through the door here with his dolly, loaded the boxes, shredded them here on site. So I'm sorry I wasn't able to be here, Kathy. I
I'm
had
just
more important things
saying,
to
when
do.
he said that you were the only one that had access, obviously that wasn't quite true, because other people had
Those were
access.
boxes with lids on them, they were stacked up. Yes, I guess somebody could have, but Sharon has worked in this office and is to be trusted. And she oversaw the documents being taken out and shredded.
perhaps they wanted to see what was in those files. That perhaps
No,
was the
we
reason.
just
Wanted to know
said,
what
You know,
happened
we
to
just told you what it was, okay?
Huh?
That's what it was.
Is that all that was shredded?
That's what was right.
Is
no,
that
he
all
said it was
that
at all that
That's
was
a simple
shredded.
question.
I wasn't there.
So then you don't actually know.
Why wasn't this
I didn't
question-
even, I didn't actually ask
I-
you a question.
No, well, I
I
wanted to,
questioned-
you wanted, and there it is.
I have a question, Doug. Why wasn't this question brought up when there was a shredder truck down here a couple years ago? I don't know, 2, 3, however many years ago, shredding documents, and the retention had been up on them. They were able to be
They have-
shredded.
They have had a document retention program and got rid
Yes.
of documents for as long as I have been
And there was
involved
no
with this
questions
township. It
then,
goes
but
back to
now,
Mr. McAdoo, and long before that. If we had all them, all those documents here, that from all these years, you couldn't have put them in this room.
no. You
And
have
those
to
are
shred.
confidential, and we should all appreciate the fact that they're not here for people to get their noses in that don't belong in it. I don't, it's not an item worthy of beating a dead horse. I move that we go to executive session.
Give your hand up, Bob.
Yes. It's not the fact of what was shredded or anything else. It was the fact that Mr. Sweat said a little bit ago, in a perfect world, but anymore, you had better cover the fact that you're going to have this expense beforehand and say, hey, we're gonna have this in here, make a motion to cover it, rather than covering it to pay for it later. It's not about what it was, to me. It is about the fact that we're doing things after. We're not doing things in the order it should be done. If you know you're gonna shred it, shred it. But before you shred it, make a motion to pay for it. Make a motion that it's going to happen.
Good.
It was $200. It was the cheapest. I can tell you, I did call around, Bob, and it was
Tammy,
$200.
I don't,
It seems like,
But-
Bob, this is a problem since the acquisition was made. Now, everybody's coming back asking what we're shredding. This is a bunch of bullshit.
yeah, they
A bunch
are,
of
but the
bullshit.
fact is you still have to
Why
follow
wasn't it
a
in
way
years
of
past?
payments.
What about all the right to knows? You just go through the procedure, find them, spending the money?
It's called right to know
Go ahead.
for a reason, Ed.
Go ahead.
Scripture says, refrain from all appearance of evil. This whole subject is defined by the fact that a shredder truck with a huge sign on it, shredder, popped up, stayed for a while, left. People saw it and said, what's going on?
What about the
A
years past,
notification that personal papers of Tammy's, now that she's gone, is going to be dealt with, would have been sufficient. I would think, I would accept it. And that would have been a sufficient thing, but you've got to have that thought process in your brain to begin with.
All this stuff started when the zoning came about.
Yeah.
Everybody's after everybody because of the zoning. And that's a shame.
Yes, it is.
The shredder truck's been down for how many years sitting out front with the same words on the side and nobody questioned it then.
It's, that's a
Did you
true
see it, Frank, 2
statement.
or 3 years ago? Did you question it? I didn't think so.
Good. Kathleen.
Just as a comment, Tammy didn't resign until August the 2nd,
Okay,
which is after the previous township meeting, correct?
I don't know.
Okay,
I'm,
it was after the previous township meeting.
okay.
So there would have been no opportunity for the board to approve a motion that they were not aware there would be an expense at that time. Okay? They, at that time, did not know that there was going to be a shredding truck. Okay? to shred
Then the
that.
timing of the
That's-
shredding truck could have been different. I mean,
Frank, may
I'm not here to say
I
that.
finish talking?
Yeah.
Okay. So, technically, under sunshine law and other laws in the state of Pennsylvania, the board can cure that without issue. Okay, they can make a motion after the fact to cover an expense.
We do that when we approve the bills.
I'm
We
sorry?
approve that. The $200 expenditure is
Okay,
not a huge expenditure.
so,
My comment only was, all of this could have been avoided by an announcement of some kind. That's all.
I move we go into executive session at 8:20 for purposes of personnel.
I have my hand up.
Go, JD.
I think several people are missing the point. Mike simply asked a question to Sweat, if it's not proper procedure to do that. We didn't know what was shredded. Tammy, that is absolutely not an attack on you whatsoever. We didn't know what was shredded. And Eddie, to answer your question, I'm
Jay, you
going
never
That's
been
all.
against
That's
her,
not
but
Dave.
everything always comes out. and
No.
An emotion on the
I
floor.
don't wanna hear it. I don't wanna hear it. Go on.
the fact that people probably didn't notice the shredding truck 2 or 3 years ago is because the heightened sense of awareness, because of all the stuff that's going on in the township. Has nothing to do with your wife, has nothing to
I
do,
would
we
never said
didn't know what was.
Actually, this is one cause that she was misappropriating funds out of township either.
That has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, here we
And
go, Mike, you're
actually,
right, 'cause we heard it again, and it's never gonna stop.
All right, JD,
Kathy.
get to the point.
I believe, I was trying.
Get to the point.
I believe that Tammy did resign by the last meeting because they read it and it's in the minutes.
Okay.
That she turned in her resignation and they took, you know, that's in the minutes.
She was still here.
Effective of, but they were aware, and yes,
Okay.
but it is in the minutes, so.
You
You
seconded?
are correct.
Back second. How you vote?
Mr. Ely?
Yes.
I vote yes. And Mr. Prescott?
Yes.
20.
23.
Couple, 3 minutes.
You got anything yet?
Don, you gonna be in here? With the septic thing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I'm gonna step in my office, but he'll be right here until I step back up.
Nobody-
Yep.
Clear off with Tom.
Absolutely.
Trying to suppress all of the stuff, because all of a sudden Facebook has a